Back in the summer, I came here to make the short video, HS2 fails to measure up. And the reason for that is there were a lot of people who didn't quite understand the devastation that HS2 would reap, because they think, well, it's only a railway, you know, I've stood on a railway platform, I know how wide a railway is, it's not like it's a motorway or anything. And I wanted to demonstrate here that in the Diamond Jubilee wood that's planted just outside Warwick University, Kenilworth on that side, that this strip of trees wasn't planted, this 25 metres wasn't planted because they thought they could fit HS2 into this gap. And it's turned out that actually this isn't wide enough. You know, it's a great example if you look at the route changes that they proposed in Nottinghamshire, that if you look at the map of HS2 and the proposed land take as it's next to the M1 in Trowell, it's about 3 times wider than the 8-lane M1. And you can see over there, since I came previously, that the newt fences have moved out, and the vegetation clearance over there and over there has happened, and the newt fence that was along that tree line has moved out over there as well. Now, the thing that I mentioned in this video was that September, October, that was coming down, and so were the ancient woodlands in this area. Crackley Wood's there, Rough Knolls Wood at the top of the hill, Birches Wood a bit further along, and Broadwell's Wood, where of course I measured up, I got the surveyor's tape out and just picked a random point, and the trees that were marked up for getting cut down was 112 metre width. Probably there were bits that were wider than that, because it's a massive cutting and people don't seem to realise just how wide HS2 and the land take of HS2 would be. But anyway, I said that these woods will be coming down in September, October, and you may well notice it's now November and they're still there. Good stuff. But why are they still there? Well, some of you might be thinking, there's a review, all the work stopped during the review. This is South Covington Wood, and in the middle of September, HS2 Limited started putting this Hearth fencing up, which really gave the indication that, review or not, they were coming for this ancient woodland. And not only this ancient woodland, but 11 others. So despite there being a review of the project, which supposedly could lead to the cancellation of it entirely, or indeed the rerouting of it, they said, oh well, actually, if we don't chop down these 11 irreplaceable ancient woodlands while the review is ongoing, then it could lead to unnecessary costs and delays to the project. The other thing was, putting the fencing up here, it became abundantly clear that they were going for South Covington Woods first, which was an act of monumental stupidity on behalf of HS2 Limited, because out of all of the ancient woodlands up and down the route of HS2, this is the one we've made the most fuss about. Or more rightly, on the edge of the wood, we have the Covington pear tree, a tree that is apparently the oldest pear tree in the country, and we ran a campaign to get it voted Tree of the Year. It's our poster boy for all the ancient woodland destruction up and down the route. And they thought, oh yeah, that's where we'll start. We'll start on the one that they really give a toss about. So, yeah, the fences went up, and on the 28th of September, a camp appeared in the middle of these fences. By the way, I am inside the fenced off area, so all of this around me would be going if HS2 had got their way. And 28th of September, camp was set up. 30th of September, HS2 Limited turn up with their chainsaws. And after saying, well, you know, it will cause unnecessary costs and unnecessary delays if we don't take those 11 ancient woodlands down by the 3rd of October, so the Thursday after the camp got here on the Saturday, and they only noticed it was here on the Monday. They said, actually, you know, it won't cause unnecessary costs and delays not to chop down these 11 ancient woodlands. And some of them, like this one, got a 3-month reprieve. Some of them got a 12-month reprieve for now. But that's why these woodlands are still here at this point in time. It's because over there's a camp of local residents who decided, no, this is not happening. And HS2 have said that they won't touch ancient woodlands, or at least they won't cut down ancient woodlands. They did say that we'd carry on working in ancient woodlands, but that's pretty much petered out and stopped anyway, because yeah, we weren't particularly happy about that. And obviously we've now got the camp at Crackley, etc, etc, and etc. But that doesn't mean to say that work has stopped. There's a lot of work going on in places that aren't ancient woodlands, like Steeple Claydon. The woodland there has been decimated. Colne Valley, there's like 10 active sites where HS2 are doing work. And even places like this, there's work going on very nearby to here during this period of review, where a lot of people think that, well, work stopped, hasn't it, during the review? No, no, no. This is the Welsh Road. It's an ancient drover's route that North Welsh farmers used to get their cattle and sheep down to London and the south of England. It's that old that it may even be older than the Foss Way, the Roman road, that it crosses just up the other side of that hill. And HS2 sort of ish follows the Welsh Road from the station that's not really at Birmingham Airport, it's on the other side of the M42, down through Warwickshire and down to the site of the Battle of Edgecote. Now, the Battle of Edgecote is a great example of how far HS2 are behind schedule, because they've only announced a fortnight ago that they're going to start archaeological works at this known site of a battlefield from the War of the Roses. They're only going to start archaeological work now. The other thing that they announced a fortnight ago was that they were going to start vegetation clearance here on the Welsh Road. And if you don't know what vegetation clearance means in HS2's lexicon, this is what vegetation clearance means. For all you people who think that because of the review, the work has stopped. And the other thing you might think, that, well, that's going to end up, Oak Furniture Land are going to have their arm off for that. No, no. The vehicle down there is set for chipping. Yeah, that's right. Even though they've taken this wonderful tree down and all the other trees of that age that were on this road just last week, they're not even going to use the wood. It's going for wood chip, for God's sake. And that's HS2 all over. Not only destroying the environment, but burning your money while they're at it. There was never any intention to stop work because of the review, during the review, despite the fact that, you know, ancient woodlands like that, for over 400 years that's been wooded, and as I said before, longer than that, because these are clearly remnants of the Forest of Arden, so they've been here forever. Even though you were going to supposedly have a genuine yes-no review, a genuine go, no-go review, these ancient woodlands were still going to get chopped down. And while they're safe-ish for now, work continues everywhere else. And the devastation is immense, because what you find is obviously you still get ancient trees getting chopped down because they're not close enough together to be a woodland. And it's a classic election tactic. If you've got a subject that you think is controversial and you don't want to have to talk about during an election campaign, you call a review that reports after the election. That way, if you're asked about it during the election, you can say, well, we'll wait for the results of the Oakery review. We'll see what Doug has to say. Very much the same as happened with student funding in 1997, a review which was, of course, largely ignored after it reported after the election, after the landslide victory for Tony Blair. Anyway, the idea that HS2 review was an electoral gimmick was sort of backed up a bit a couple of weeks ago when the Brexit Party, who oppose HS2, like the Green Party oppose HS2, yeah, totally opposite end of the spectrum you feel, but agree that HS2 is a really, really bad idea. But the Brexit Party pulled out of fighting the Conservative seats, well, all Conservative held seats, but obviously the Conservative held seats along the route of HS2. And you thought the review might be, you know, to stop Brexit Party getting votes in those seats in particular, because most of them, in fact almost all of them, are Leave seats. And yeah, the day after that this announcement from Nigel Farage to pull out of those seats, the day after, the review that was supposedly meant to take 6 weeks and then get put back and kept getting put back and kept getting put back because the election kept getting put back and kept getting put back, the review was leaked. And guess what it said? Oh yeah, HS2's great idea, we've got to have it. Which wasn't a total surprise, because we'd always been slightly sceptical of the whole review because it was being headed up by Doug Oakery, who was a former chairman of HS2 Limited. It was being run by the Department for Transport, and the only evidence that they seemed to be paying attention to was from HS2 Limited, despite the fact that HS2 Limited and the Department of Transport have proven themselves to be slightly less than trustworthy over the whole piece of HS2. So much so that, you know, HS2 is meant to cost 32 billion at the start. It then went up to what, 42, 50, 56. Now accepted officially that it will be about 88. Realistically, they're talking about over 100. Even Boris Johnson says it will be over 100. So, listening to evidence from the very people who have, quite frankly, committed fraud in, you know, misleading Parliament over the known cost escalation of HS2. Because let's be absolutely clear here, the civil servants knew, and this is, you know, a matter of public record, the civil servants and politicians knew that HS2 was over budget before the final approval from Parliament. Parliament was misled, right? And the response seems to have been, you know what, this is the way we've always done it, we'll just cover that up. And there's like dozens of civil servants that seem not to realise that the 2006 Fraud Act, specifically Section 4 of the 2006 Fraud Act, actually applies to them as well as everyone else in the country. And obviously that's not just on things like here, where HS2 have caused losses to people by not paying for the land that they've seized, but also you've got to tell the truth, guys, when it comes to money, and they ain't done that. So here we are now, what, a fortnight out from a general election, with protection camps here at Crackley Woods, outside Kenilworth, at South Cubbington Wood, the Link Road at Great Missenden, the granddaddy of them all, Harville Road in Harefield in the Colne Valley Regional Park, with, you know, direct actions also taking place in Denham, in Steeple Claydon, all safe Conservative constituencies. And a lot of this direct action is actually stopping work taking place. But of course, there's 140 miles of HS2 phase 1. There simply aren't enough people on the ground to stop all the devastation that is happening. And the thing is that HS2 is being now played again as supposedly a project that has environmental credentials, and it absolutely has none. And it's not just the devastation that you're going to see here and the 108 ancient woodlands that are impacted, the SSSIs, or the habitats that we are seeing being destroyed or being ready to be destroyed. It's not just that, it's not just the physical damage. HS2 is a project that even on their own projections in 120 years still won't achieve carbon neutrality. You know, there's idiot politicians who are saying it'll take planes out of the air. It's being lobbied for by the airports. East Midlands, Leeds, Bradford, Birmingham, Manchester airports are all spending their own money to lobby for this. You know, their commercial interests, they are not going to ask for something to be built that is going to hurt them as businesses. They then said, oh, well, what else would you do? Well, what else would I do is I'd actually assess what Britain's transport infrastructure needs, not lay 350 miles of concrete down the centre of the country. You know, not do something that's going to be so devastating. That's what I do. I'd actually look and see what's needed, not build the project that the construction industry has demanded needs to be built. Because that's what HS2 is. It's not a project that is going to deliver benefits. You know, the headline from the leaked Oakover report was that, oh, it would deliver economic benefits and prosperity to the north. Every single piece of international evidence says it will do exactly the opposite, that it will just suck more stuff down to London, exactly as our hub and spoke transport system has done in the years up until now. And there are so many things like, where's the electricity coming from, for God's sake? HS2, and these are their own figures, it's meant to require 2/3 of the total electricity that the entire rail network currently requires, because it's going so fast. But then they say, oh, we might slow it down. Like, one of the things that the Oakover review admits is that actually this 18 trains per hour that the entire business case is based on can't be done. Something that we've been saying for almost 10 years now. And this is the thing with HS2. It is a project, it is a train that is driven by lies. Not one of the arguments stacks up. And it has to be stopped, and it has to be stopped now, before this sort of thing starts coming down even more than it already is. This is what vegetation clearance means. Yeah. You would have thought maybe that's vegetation, hedgerow. No. I did try cat in the rings. But yeah, it's a little bit tricky with all that sawdust.